How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I am just broadcasting from my phone. I'm going guerrilla mode, and that is my Aston Martin. I'm in front of BC Racing North America, and they're about an hour away from my house, and I'm getting some prototype suspension put on my car. So I apologize for the quality of this video, guys, but this is what happens when you don't think ahead and you can only get your phone with you. So this is my Aston Martin. It is very, very stock, at least stock looking. You guys know that I've done the exhaust on it, but I've always wanted to do the suspension. While the car sits relatively well, the car actually has a really good ride height from factory. I'd like to lower it just a little bit, like just maybe half an inch, just kind of get this wheel gap a little bit smaller. I don't want to eliminate it completely, but I do want to get it a little bit smaller on both sides. And maybe after that, I can get some wheel spacers to basically space these wheels out a bit because they are a little bit sunken in. But other than that, I mean, I'm really, really excited. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna leave it here in the capable hands of the guys at BC Racing, and we're gonna go from this, which is stock, so before and after. Guys, look how good that looks. All right, I'm gonna give you some necessary information. We're gonna go into the shop and rewind the clock just a little bit so we can get some info on this awesome suspension setup. Let's do it.
Hey, how you doing, man?
How are you?
Good.
All right, so this is BC Racing North America headquarters. So excited. Oh yeah. So this is the test center for BC Racing North America. And that's my car. Look at it. All right, so they were gracious enough to take off these two wheels just to show me what everything looks like with the new suspension in there. This is a BR type coilover. And this is your basic coilover, has adjustable damping and adjustable height. So it has 10K front spring rate, and I believe the rears are 6K. But if you look at how this all looks, everything on the Aston Martin is sort of made out of aluminum, and there's some steel components, but everything is out of this box frame, and the nice bits are just bolted on outside. Now, I haven't driven this yet. I just looked at this car basically 5 minutes ago, and now I'm making this video. But here you can see a better view of what's going on. Now, this is a 6K spring rate. Mainly because there's no engine in the back and doesn't have to deal with that weight transfer. But it looks really, really nice. The guys here told me that getting this out was a little bit of a pain just because they had to take out these brackets, and the adjustment is on the top, so they have to figure out a solution for that. But other than that, it looks very, very good, and I really can't wait to take a drive in this. So what we're going to do now is we're basically just going to put all the fender liners on, and we're going to put the wheels on, get this car on the ground, and see how she sits. Oh yeah. That is a lowered Aston Martin, everybody. They're just taking it off the ramps. That is the thumbnail right there. Ah, that is a good looking automobile, everyone. It's not bad. Let's see how it looks from the side profile. So it is lowered from stock about 3/4 of an inch, and that's basically what I wanted. Now, I do need to space out those wheels, well, the front and rear, a little bit just so they're more flush with the bumper, but this looks really, really good, guys. I am very pleased. So what they did is they removed this wheel gap, and well, they removed it to the point where it's only one finger, and one finger is that's what we want. This looks more aggressive, and if I put some different wheels on it, I think it should kind of even out this this more aggressive tone. Maybe some body modifications, but that's for another day. This thing looks great. Let me get one of the guys out here so they can show me around this new suspension setup, because I know a few things, but I think they know a lot more about this than I do. So here we have Mr. Tim from BC Racing. He's the general manager here at BC Racing North America, and he's going to tell me a little bit about this car. Now, Tim, what are the spring rates for the front and rear for this car?
So what we ended up settling on was a 10 kilogram front and a 6 kilogram rear rate with a linear piston in our damper. So we found that the OEM setup was a little bit harsher at low speeds, you know, small undulations in the road, going over transitions between driveways and streets and stuff like that. The car felt really harsh, you know?
Yeah.
So we went with a linear piston, and I'd say we're probably in between 10 and 15% stiffer than OEM springs on the spring rates.
How much low? I mean, it's low now, right? But how much lower can we go on the suspension theoretically?
So right now, with the current setup that's in there, you can lower the car, I want to say, close to 2 inches in the rear and almost exactly 2 inches in the front, and exactly 2 inches in the front.
So basically the front tires are going to be sticking out of the fender.
Correct, yeah. So where you're at right now is 3/4 of an inch lower than OEM front and rear. So that's where you're at right now. So you can imagine what another, you know, 1 1/4 inch would look like all the way around.
I mean, for me, I think just as this isn't a daily driver for me, this is more of just a weekend GT cruiser. But I think this is going to make the driving experience a lot better. So this is a prototype suspension, right? That we're putting on this car, but it's not going to be it's not exactly the same as what you're doing for a customer suspension. So what would the differences be?
So as far as the spring rates that are concerned, I think we're going to stick with where we're at right now with the 10 front, 6 rear, and then. The only other thing I really want to change is that the way the Aston Martin is built, with the, you know, the body being so rigid with all the aluminum parts all over the place, is there's not a lot of access to be able to reach the damping knobs on top of the adjuster, or on top of the shocks. Yeah. So in the rear, it's actually like up. It's the adjuster is still in the fender well, but it's built into this OEM cup that Aston Martin has. So you can't really put a dampening center on there like we would normally do on a kit, so it could be accessed from someplace, you know, in the trunk or the back seat or something like that. Yeah, because there's a small piece of metal that sits over top of the damping knob, and it just won't fit on there. Right. So we're going to come up with a solution. So we are working on a solution for that right now, actually. And then in the front, because of how the OEM strut tower brace is, there's no way to access the damping knob through there either, because the strut tower brace completely encloses the upper strut tower, so you can't see down inside there whatsoever. So there's no way to adjust damping from there either. Yeah. So the two changes that you'll see from this kit to a production kit is simply just going to be figuring out a way to make that damping more accessible to the average customer. Okay. Well, that's I mean, for me, I'm not really concerned about that, because I'm a DIY guy anyway, and I'm sure that this will be perfectly fine for what I want to do. But it's good to know that people that don't really wrench on their cars like I do are going to have a solution for that. Absolutely. But yeah, thank you very much. I can't wait to get this thing on the road. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that right now. Oh boy. I think the last time I drove this car, I think the last time you saw me drive this car was when I got this exhaust, but man, this does not get old. So one of Florida's best kept secrets is this road right here. It's going to be County Road 561, and that is going right near Claremont. And it is one of the windiest bits in the entire state. It is quite desolate. It doesn't really lead to anywhere. It's full of farmland and whatnot. And since Florida is the nation's flattest state, it does mean that there's not a lot of curves. But this road will put this car through its paces. So right off the bat, before I get to any turns like I see up there, this ride quality is actually quite good. It is a little bit more harsh than what I'm used to normally, but honestly, it makes it feel more sporty and more special.
Wow. So these are bumps I'm going over, and it doesn't feel like I'm strapping myself into a paint can shaker. Let's see how it takes some turns. Wow. Whoa! This is good. Whoa! All right. So the sensation of speed is really, really hard to convey into video, because this must be looking like it's very, very slow, but I was doing this at, let's just say, the speed limit and then some. So a really good byproduct of a lowered suspension, especially a coilover suspension with adjustable height like this one, is that whenever you lower a car, in any situation, you're lowering the center of gravity and making the handling better. It will be less likely to want to flip over. I mean, this car is low as it is, but it's not going to want to flip over. It's not going to want to shift its mass as much. This has been lowered around 3/4 of an inch all around, and I did that because I didn't want to have the car scraping speed bumps. I didn't want to have the car scraping my driveway, even though my driveway is quite low. I didn't want to have those issues, because on exotic cars and sports cars and supercars, that is a constant bother. But this, I think, is the perfect setup, because it looks very, very aggressive, and it handles beautifully. So, okay, traffic is breaking up a little bit. Let's see how it does a downhill left-hander. See, this is an off-camber turn, and this thing is just soaking it up. There's zero body roll. Whoa, this suspension is maybe 10 to 15% more sporty, more engaging than the stock suspension is. And it makes you feel like you're part of the machine. So the exhaust does a lot of the same thing. The exhaust is just a little bit more than the stock exhaust, but it makes you feel like the machine it's an extension of yourself. Now, these coilovers are more stiff, but I feel every little thing in the road, every little craggle, every rock, it is reverberating throughout the car. It's not anything bad, it's not spine shattering, but I feel it through the seat, through my back, through my butt, and it all gets relayed through the steering wheel. And this car has good steering in any case, but it just makes it that much more special. Now, I'm not a professional race car driver, I'm not a seasoned pro, but I do know what I like. And I like that. So, this car is at home on high-speed bends like this, and the suspension is really giving me a little more confidence. I am bouncing around a little more, but this car is so planted. I have no idea how good it's going to be on a track, but honestly, I didn't buy this car to go on the track. I bought this car to do stuff like this. I feel like I'm saying a lot of the same things, but man, it's hard to drive fast and talk at the same time. Chris Harris, you deserve every penny that you get. So as far as a modification for an Aston Martin, this should be on the short list of stuff you do to a stock V8 Vantage. Because for around $1,500, or whatever it is the end price is going to be, it's around about there, it makes the car so much better. It turns it from a sort of sports car, sort of GT, into a full-on experience. This is absolutely a sports car. I have the suspension in the middle setting, so it's 30-way adjustable, and I have it at around 15. It gives me the best possible compromise between comfort and performance. And to be honest, I don't think the performance is skimping at all. I think it's a little more performance than comfort, even though I am pretty damn comfortable. That thing over 4,500 RPMs, it's a hell of a sound. And on braking, You don't feel the weight just slam forward. On these stock suspensions, you felt the weight transfer, but here it's just so planted. It's very, very flat, and that's exactly what you want from a suspension like this. Oh, I love this. It is so good. So even a full throttle pull, I should feel the back end squat a little bit, but this just doesn't. It's so flat. Oh boy, that'll wake you up. Wow. So I bought this car for $36,000, and the exhaust was about $4,000, and the suspension was another $2,000, let's say thereabouts, if you do the work yourself, which is totally possible with this setup. So for around $42,000, this is just an insane value of what you can get with this platform. And anybody that has a Aston Martin V8 Vantage owes it to themselves to get one of these suspension setups on their car, because this is so good. My back is sort of nasty. It's sweating like crazy, but I am really pumped. I'm excited. I am wired, and I am alive. This is one of my favorite turns coming up. Oh yeah. Oh boy, everything is shifting around in here, but the car feels so planted. I can't stop laughing. I'm just a complete cheeseball right now. Now that we're in a residential zone, I can calm down just a little bit and tell you about the other suspension that BC Racing is making. So this is a sports suspension. This is for the street and some track use. They're also making a race suspension, and that is for track use only, or rather strictly track use. You can probably use it on the street, I'm sure. But if you're into drifting, if you're into circuit racing, like Richard Sidlitz from Redpants, or BS for Build, Chris from BS for Build, then that is the one to get. But if you're into canyon carving and the occasional shakedown run, like I am with this car, then this is a suspension you need to get. So I would like to give a big thanks to my friend Richard Sidlitz. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, from Redpants.lol. Redpants is a company that if you own an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, you should know by heart, because he has everything you need for a DIYer like me and like a lot of other Aston owners. So he got together with BC Racing and basically reached out to me and said, and asked me if I'd like to have the first prototype suspension on this car, and this is the very first suspension. So thank you very much. Anybody who wants anything as far as Aston Martin, if you want to find out how an Aston Martin works, you go to his website, and there are a ton of DIYs, and it is himself, it is Richard doing all the DIYs, and he wrenched on his own car, and he mods his own car, and I love that stuff. That's all I'm about, and that's all this channel is about. And you can go to his channel. The link for his channel will be in the description below. But I'd like to thank him very much for setting this up. I'd also like to thank BC Racing North America. Now, anybody who needs a really good suspension, any settings you want, you can have springs to your liking, the ride height, anything you want. I've been to their shop. It's freaking amazing, and they are very good guys. They have project cars. They have a really good sense of humor about stuff. They love cars. They're not just some big business that just wants to make money off of trends. They are the real deal. So hit them up. The link will be in the description for this particular kit. I'm not sure if this kit is going to be out actually by the time this video drops, but if you want a kit, the link will be in the description below for their website, and then you can find it there. They have literally thousands of cars that their kits can go on. So if you own a vehicle, it is very likely that your car has a suspension that BC Racing has modified, and I suggest that you take the time to check out their inventory, because it is very good. So as I make my exit to go home, I want to thank every single one of my subscribers. There are so many of you now that it just beggars belief. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have been freaking awesome. But if you enjoyed my content and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, because I do this stuff all the time, and I like to share what I do with cars with you. So that is, it's really important for me that I get the word out there and you guys can enjoy it. So, you know, it's kind of a reciprocal thing. But thank you so much. If you want to reach me for any reason, if you want to talk about cars, if you want to help out with my builds, if you want to, I don't know, you want to ask me a question on what car you should buy, you can reach me at The Real Tavarish. That is Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second. Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook.com/AskTavarish. AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email, and I do check every single email. It takes me a little while to answer them all, but that's just because one, I'm busy, and two, I'm lazy, and I'm probably more lazy than I am busy. But no matter, because I have a little bit of driving to do. This car is putting a smile on my face. I'm still smiling from that awesome experience. So until next time, I'm here to remind you that even on cars like this, you need to wrench every day. Oh yeah.